Thank you for joining us and welcome sports fans. You are now watching the Baseball Hippie Show, Baseball Hippie Show, Baseball Hippie Show. Wow, it's the Baseball Hippie Show. Welcome all, it's just love and baseball. Just love and baseball. Just love and baseball. Baseball Hippie Show. Welcome all, it's just love and baseball. Baseball Hippie Show. Welcome all, it's just love and baseball. Baseball, just love and baseball. Just love and baseball. Baseball,
Yo.
Baseball, just love and baseball.
Tobe killed it with that intro song.
Incredible. It is a good intro tune. Thank Tobe. It's out another week. Acid Pro 6.0, Brownbear. This boy. I love when somebody doesn't use Ableton. It's just like, he does it his way, man. He's got a thing.
Wait, what's he use?
Acid Pro.
Oh, damn. That's the first digital workstation I ever fucked around with.
Same.
Actually, that's not true. I used GarageBand on my old family Mac back in high school. But the first one I ever pirated and made my own music on was Acid Pro.
Daw. You went daw. Straight into the world of digital audio work. Well, man, it's the Baseball Hippie show about baseball, psychedelia, the Mariners, the Seattle Mariners professional baseball organization, and denuclearization, and amongst other things. This is our 4th season in existence, September 7th. I like to get the time capsule there, Brown Bear. That's what I like. Start the show. That's what I've been trying to do lately. Get the time.
Yeah.
On record, just when we have these logged in our archivals.
Yeah. Perfect.
From the beginning. When I come back, I can listen to what I said. I kind of have an idea when. I mean, it says on the published date too, so it's not like it's hidden information. But yeah, man. Last time we talked, things were going good for the Mariners, and we sit here today. Mariners half a game out of first. Say things are still going pretty good, man. Baseball has gotten weirder, and we're in September, so this is it, man.
Yep.
What's up with you though? This is how we always got to start with how are you doing, man?
Doing good, just chilling. Yeah, it's been a good week, good baseball week. Getting back to our winning ways. We'll get more into that, I'm sure, but had kind of a funky weekend in New York and Cincinnati, and now we're back on to better things, hopefully. But yeah, I'm doing good, and life's good. How you doing?
Man, hectic. I'll become the dog sitter of all dog sitters. Right now I got two dogs I'm watching.
Maeve. Oh, the homie Maeve, shout out.
Shout out. Who gets our shout out this week? That's a perfect segue right there. I look very happy about your shout out. Say hi to the people. Well, yeah, man, I'm good. I got the chat going this week. I'm gonna start doing that. I haven't gotten any traction on the social media, but I feel like my idea is good, which is really just start with the Instagram. Start liking all the baseball content from the Baseball Hippie page. Start interacting more. So if you see me in a comment of some baseball thing that you see on the internet or the Baseball Hippie, don't be surprised. Get a little out there. Not too out there, though. I'm not going to just like things that I don't actually like. That we don't actually. What I think we wouldn't like. But.
Yeah.
Man. I always look forward to talking baseball with you because I guess I'm going to come off as a little egotistical here, maybe even a little cocky, but man, I trust your eye, Brownbear. I know you log a lot of games because I haven't been able to catch as many games. Like, I know we watch a lot of games separately, and now that we're in the chat, I kind of know who's watching. I know DT. That's why I'd love to have DT on the show because I'm pretty sure he listens to every single game on the radio or watches it. And I feel like there's just a lot of information that comes in that you can't get from articles, you can't get from podcasts, and you can't get from even really the replays. It's really just the eccentricities. I guess being at the game, but then even at the game, there's just so many distractions. But I still count being at the game as watching the game, obviously. But
definitely. Yeah. I think you have a good point though. The more you watch, you pick up on smaller things that aren't covered by media, that aren't shown in post game highlights for sure.
Yeah, I hope I can get some Mariners fans. I would love to get the opinion of a Mariners fan. Maybe I wouldn't love to get the opinion of just any random Mariners fan that we talk about on the show. But I'd love, I think I don't want to say we have some kind of expertise that anyone else wouldn't have, but we do. That's why I've changed the podcast to just we do talk a lot of baseball, but I know we watch Mariners. And we've been talking about this. That's why I kind of like that I'm having you on the show, not with Tobe's really is. I kind of was thinking the other day, this is a golden era for the Mariners. Because I was thinking to myself this today, actually, when I was watching the game. I was like, Big Dumper is kind of the heart of this team. When he had that throw out, I was like, he kind of is just JP's the leader. He's kind of the heart, maybe Julio, but he's got a integral role in this team. And it just reminded me of man, our core is growing up in front of our eyes, Brownbear. You must be proud father and proud Mariners fan. A double whammy for you.
Proud Mariners father. Yeah, no, man, I feel you. And I agree. I think Cal plays a bigger leadership role. He's not a flashy or loud sort of guy. He's had big moments, obviously, but he's not. JP has got the charisma. He's kind of, out in front of everybody. Julio's got the charisma, kind of out in front of everybody. Cal, I think, takes a bit of a back seat. Really, even in his post-game interviews that he does get, he's a little bit more reserved, I think. But definitely, yeah, with his play, and then I think his game calling is pretty underrated as far as I think he's one of the better defensive and strategic catchers in the game.
I agree.
I think two times
gotten better. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. He threw out two guys tonight, and then the other day in Cincinnati he did as well. We ended up going on to, I think that was the game that we lost in the late innings. We got walked off on, which was awful, but before that happened, he saved that game to get us to the point where we were in the lead going into the final inning.
Yeah.
And he threw out two lead runners in that inning that would have come around to score, and we would have lost the lead much earlier than we did. So, yeah, he's keeping us in games. He's saving us with his defense. And then I think, too, he doesn't catch every day, but certainly since Murphy has been down, he's playing a lot more than O'Keefe. And to be able to command such a, strong lineup of a strong rotation of starting pitchers, as well as the bullpen, and to keep it all together, I think, I just think he deserves to be talked about more.
Yeah, I mean, he's also, you can't take away, he's got the Mariner moment where he put us in the playoffs after 22 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And the nickname, which was infamously given to him by one, who's got his own lore started, Jared Kalanick. I just feel like we're not in the middle of this group that Dipoto put together, but we're definitely past the beginning. And that's like, it kind of makes me nostalgic because I'm like, I don't know. Again, I keep making the Royals comparison, but I'm just like, man, I believe in this fucking team. Like, I honestly believe in this team. I don't think it's overnight. I don't think it might be next year or whatever. But if you're watching these games, I like what I see from the young guys. And I would call Big Dumper a young guy still. Like, it's not like he's just some fucking, you know, like, I know I talk a lot about Murphy, but he probably would become a trade piece if he got to play a full season because
I mean, I think we haven't seen Murphy in like the same sample size, the same extended period of at bats and reps that we have as Cal for a couple of years now. He's been playing the backup role. He's also been injured this season and last season. I think Murphy's got a pretty established offensive game, but I also think that Cal definitely has a leg up on him in terms of defensively and game calling.
Yeah, definitely. 1,000%. Plus, I love Murphy at the plate and could be like a baller, but I think it kind of like because it overshadows what Dumper, Cal brings, dude. Like, he's still could be a 20. I mean, in his prime, if he hasn't even, which he hasn't maybe even stepped into, he could be like a 30 home run guy if he stays healthy, I think, right? He had 20 last year, I think.
I think he had like 25 last year or something.
Yeah.
I think he tied his number from last year just yesterday, I believe. I'll tell you in just a second what his numbers are.
I love how he gets wrapped into the shout out a little bit. So shout out Maeve and then shout out Cal Rowley or Rayleigh.
I think it's Rowley.
Okay. Cal Rowley, a.k.a. Big Dumper. He's beloved, man. The Big Dumper nickname put him right over the edge.
26 homers this year. He could damn well have 30 homers this year, dude.
This year?
Yeah.
Wow. Could he be a 40 home run guy? Because I'm telling you, he's not like... That's what I'm trying to say, is I have a short list of about 7 players that I don't think have hit their peak yet. And I'll just, fuck it, we'll jump right into it, Mariner style.
But I also...
hit me.
It's no. Go with what you're saying while I look something.
You already know the list. You've seen the games, but I'm just saying, like, when I see good things from Gilbert, he's a great example. He's gotten shelled this year a few times, but he's also had like 3. He had 1 almost complete game. He had a fucking gem of a complete game in San Francisco, and he's starting to just be on a tear right now. And like, his win was pretty important to me because it symbolized like another one of our starters has kind of become a stopper guy. Like, he might slip again, but I do think the ceiling is just like so fucking high on so many of our players. And yes, we'll have to spend some money. And yes, we'll have to get some new guys. But like, I believe, man, and DePoto's moves are Teo and a bunch of schlubby guys that he let go of, and then, the maneuver with Seawald seems like he had to do it at this point, but weird, man.
I think First, let me go back, and then I got to say something about the Paul Seawald thing. Anyway, back to Cal Raleigh real quick. In terms of WRC plus, which is more of an advanced statistic than batting average. His batting average isn't doesn't stand out on the page. He's hitting 230, but he's got the power. He's got 26 home runs. He leads all catchers in home runs. And according to WRC plus, he's the 5th best offensive catcher in all of baseball.
I'm not surprised by that. I think he's far better than Zunino at this point in Zunino's career. He just looks like a more...
I think Zunino's a free agent right now. I don't think he's on a team.
Well, I'm not trying to Z too hard, but it's like, I look for more, like, if you're a power hitter, you've got to get hits with runners on scoring position, and you got to make something happen when there's not. And I feel like Cal does both. He can like hit a single to score a guy, or he can get a walk and get on base, or he'll hit a big double or homer. As in, like, I felt like Zanino just became one-dimensional because his strikeouts went up so high. He just could not recover. And, he had trouble with the curveball, but even that I could look past. But I just still think Cal Raleigh and Zanino's prospects, I don't think they were even on the same level, man. I think Raleigh was a far, far higher prospect. I think Zanino was kind of a weird call up, even like it was pre Dipoto era. So, what was the other thing you were going to say though? I kind of got a sidetrack there.
No, it's all good. You were talking about the Paul Sewald trade and said that I think what you were hinting at was because of some of the moves that Dipoto made in the offseason with, I'm assuming, like Pollock and Wong and things like that not working out.
Yeah.
It forced his hand a little bit to have to be more active at the deadline and cash in on a guy like Sewald. I would defend the Sewald move and say it was like anytime you can get 3 players back, 2 MLB ready players and a prospect back for 1 relief pitcher, not even looking deeper into Sewald's history, which was a guy we got for like nothing off the trash heap from the Mets, and we turned him into what he was.
Yeah.
I think not making that deal at that time, regardless of what our current situation was dumb. That being said, I think obviously if you can keep Sewald, you don't have to make a trade because you're playing so well at the deadline. That's great too, obviously. But cashing in on a guy like Sewald when his stock was so high to get such a good return off of that, and I guess it's remained to be seen how good long-term that return is, but I have no issue with that move, and I would say, they may have made a move like that regardless, even if we had a guy like Wong performing and we didn't need to try and fill holes, because I think they would have tried to get what they could get from any to fill any sort of hole we had. So
I mean, we're just spraying off the naysayers and the haters here, which is like, I hate to be full team Dipoto. I think we both know why I'm against the part of Dipoto I don't like is the service is the package deal part. But I get it in that, like, service activates the game plan. They are in perfect synergy, because another thing the media hasn't been talking about is this Angels collapse, and I just cannot get over the fact where I'm like, man, I really think when your GM leaves in the middle of a season, you got some work. Like, that's when the shit before they got Ohtani was actually when the clubhouse was having major issues. Like, that was a bad move on the Angels' part. So Sosha ends up getting fired like a year and a half later. It's like in some ways I kind of even understand that part. I think me and you will always be a little critical of the GM because that's like I think what our job is as super fans and podcasters. But I just wanted to point out what I see major potential. What you just mentioned with the Sewald trade, it's like we got top dollar for him. Like literally the toppest dollar you could possibly get for Paul Sewald, unless he somehow just goes on to have like 5 more incredible years. But I don't project that,
No.
I'm right there with you. It's like I like Dipoto's vision of like you just see you make a bet on the future and you let your fucking garden grow, man. You never like it's kind of interesting how bad we were and how much hater talk, because I still like went through the chat today on Reddit and saw a bunch. I actually saw a guy. Glad I bring this up. I saw a user named Vanilla Bear, and I thought it might have been you but I like looked into their like account, and like they were posting all sorts of wild shit. So I don't think it's you, but you don't have to tell me.
No, I'm Brown Bear. Or Brown Bear Eats or something, or Brown Bear Beats, I don't know.
Well, yeah, Vanilla Bear was salty, was like saying, well, it wasn't salty, excuse me. They were just talking about, like, in kind of a condescending way, like how hard it is to watch the Mariners this year with the Munoz train, which we'll get into here in a second. But I'm just like,
Hey man, if you don't know, if you aren't clinching and sweating when your closer's up, you're not a Mariner.
yeah,
That's Mariners baseball, dude. And
yeah,
if you can't remember the days of Fernando Rodney,
yeah, exactly.
then you don't get it. You don't understand. You haven't been in the trenches. And
Agreed. I think like again, our positivity. I hate to get all hippie on us on the Baseball Hippie Show, but our positivity is what we let go, or at least I let go of my emotional attachment to the team, and I won't even like whatever the Mariners do this year, which I have high hopes. I'm at peace. I love this team. I will love them into the future because I believe I sound like a true believer right now. I just sound like such a I believe, but I think that man, there is two different types of Mariners fans. They're just like my dad's kind of on the he just always looking at the negative, and I'm like, these are the days. This is the motherfucking wonder years. We're watching our fucking boys grow up, and you're gonna talk to me about, oh man, this shit is always some leaking on the ship. I'm just like, man, this is the best. That August might have been one of the, if it statistically, was it not the best Mariners month of all time?
it was.
It was fucking awesome, and I was just so.
So you make a good point about there being two different kinds of fans. I think there's fans I would like to think that we are we have tried to detach ourselves emotionally from the team. We're enjoying whatever's going on with it. I will even admit I got a little bit more negative than I typically do this year. I wouldn't say I was overly negative, but I just had kind of cashed in a bit early because I wasn't seeing what I thought we needed to see from the team, but they more than proved me wrong in August. And then the other end of it, I don't know if your dad falls in exactly with the worst of the worst in terms of it's not bandwagoners, but it's people who it's they're just soft and they got no faith. It's so we put together a stretch where we won 8 games, then we lost 3 in a row, we won another 8 in a row. When we lost the 9th game of that second 8 stretch, there was people throwing in, they say, oh, that's the season, we can't keep it going, the season's over. It's what are you talking about? How soft can you be? At the very first, we have this incredible run, at the very first sign of adversity, you're ready to fold again and say oh, well, that's it, and you don't have any faith that they can straight. It's all just been luck for the last 20 game stretch that we went on. And back to this past week, it sucks to drop 2 out of 3 to the Mets. I think people think the Mets are a lot worse than they are. The Mets have had an awful season, but those are a bunch of really good baseball players, and baseball's fucking hard. You're going to lose to teams full of good players, even if those good players aren't performing to where they're supposed to be at.
Let me dig a little deeper on that too. Is that again a conversation, not to call my dad out, but I guess we need a resident naysayer. Sorry, Dad, but you actually, shout out to my dad and mom. They're actually traveling in Spain or in Ireland right now, so give them a shout. But
shout out,
man, it's he's just what, they're losing to the Mets or something? He said some team, and I'm man, teams don't matter with this team. I'm telling you this right now. This is their formula. They got good starting pitching, and then they just try to put runners on base. They don't give a fuck if they leave 10 runners on. They're just moving the line. And Julio, his celebration is the incarnation of what the August team is, which is just the straight move it, the straight roll. And that's what, if you've been watching the games, you understand, because they put on more runners in throwaway innings than I've ever seen a Mariners team. That makes me feel like they're buying into this system and they're locked in. And I guess let's get to the negative parts, right now. But it's we know their back end of their bullpen is under, is having shakiness. And you said in the chat, I don't have to sugarcoat when bad things are happening, but at the same time, it's just that is the glaring issue, but that's like one of not that many when at other times in the season and for other teams, there's just all the everything's leaking. I'm just like, keep moving the line, keep good starting pitching, which looks like it's steady. And I'd say, like, you know, I'm with you. I think maybe add some bullpenners to some late inning games, but I feel like he did that with Topa and they got burned, and then everybody's like, fuck Topa. And I'm just like, man, I don't.
That was the first time Topa gave up runs in like 20 innings or something like that.
Exactly. And Campbell looks like he's like, I don't think our middle relief has shit the bed at all. I don't think our middle relief is bad. I just think that Brash and Munoz collectively can give up a whole lot of games because they play with fire, both of them. You know, they're just home run strikeout guys, But in some ways, this is the fucking gun this is what we have, you know, like this is what we're rocking with, man.
Yeah, and I guess what more my point you mentioned what I said in the chat, which was I'm getting tired of seeing Munoz in the ninth. And I guess more to my point, it's not that he's bad. He won reliever of the month, the AL reliever of the month last month. His numbers aren't bad. Other people are way worse. It's the stress that I have when I'm watching. It's more because it's never. I think my second point in the chat was he gets it done, but it's never clean, and it's stressful, and it puts the game on the line when I wish it wasn't. However, I will say one thing. It's just a part of the team. It's a part of going back to the Scott and Jerry or a package deal sort of thing. Their MO, their ethos as manager and as GM is like they're gonna stick with their guys, and it's easy to say as a fan, like, oh man, these are all the things I've seen from like an outsider, like a, you know, like trying to, you know, what armchair GM or trying to look at things objectively, but you don't. I think one thing that it's easy as a fan to not take into account when you're saying all this, saying like, oh, this guy sucks in this situation. I wish they would put up Topa in this situation. These guys all have defined roles, and that's the way that this team has been managed. It's like, we're using you here, we're using you here, we're using you here. And their belief is that they can't put Munoz up in that situation and have him in the ninth and then be flip-flopping every day like, oh, you didn't work out yesterday, so now we're going to go with Brash in that position, or now we're going to go with Topa in that position.
100%.
Because they got to be there for their dude. They got to instill that confidence in him. How can he be confident in his stuff if the manager's second-guessing him every second day and putting someone else in?
One second. I apologize.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
I'm on doggy.
It's all good.
Maybe. Come here, bub. All right, sorry, I'm on doggy duty.
Nah, it's all good.
I agree with that. It's like in September, you need defined roles. And I think me and you are not, like, I think we even talked about this on the last show. We're not set on. I mean, we could have long discussions about the closer role. I think we opened up that can of worms last. We're not set on, like, Munoz just being the absolute closer if he shits the bed all September. But he is our guy going down the stretch. Brash is our 8. And then 7 is like Topa or Campbell. This is just how we operate today.
Yeah, and honestly, it doesn't really matter even what it's easy for us to say what we think and how we feel about it. But what's been proven over the last, I don't know, what is it, 6 or 7 years that Scott and Jerry have been here, that's how they operate. They believe in their dudes, and they are going to give their dudes so many chances to prove that they can do it. Just look, like they let Wong start at second base all the way through basically the beginning of August and before they made a change.
Yeah.
And that speaks to, like, you know, I guess my main point here is fan expectations and fan opinions can really get muddied up in like what they think a team should be doing with coaching. But I think the reason that the team gels the way it does and the team has the results that it does when we really get going is because they have that sort of that ethos that we believe in our dudes. We all have our role to play and all have our spot to play, and we're not going to second guess you when we put you in that position because we know that you're the guy. And I think there's something to be said about that. Like,
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think they do it. My guess is it's very analytical, and that they're going to agree to a certain amount of opportunities at bats in a mathematical way. But man, okay, I could go all night on this shit. Okay, real quick, we talk a lot of shit on the lefty righty matchup. Josh Oshkob, Josh Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt also doesn't like it. But I was looking, like, they brought up the visual of Gilbert's spread, and it's pretty damning for a pitcher like him. What the righty lefty batting average is, like 100 points, and so from each side. So as long as I understand it, I don't really care. The product to me is, yeah, they lose a lot of fucking games, like heartbreakers, but I just don't want to negate the fact that if they win a World Series with this group 10 years from now, you will remember these seasons, because you'll be like, man, we saw the potential. I mean, we knew how they were built. We knew the ethos. We knew exactly what the fucking plan was. And with other Mariners teams, there's no brand, there's no fucking plan. There's just not a lot of that going on. Now I'm just like, this is the way the Mariners operate, and this is the ship, and like, I'm fucking into it, man.
And with other Mariners teams, we're not losing heartbreakers. Losing a heartbreaking game is a good sign. That means you were in the game. That means you were competitive until the end, and something went wrong. There was a hole in your game somewhere. But it's not the years where we're getting constantly blown out by the fourth inning. Like 6, 7, 8 years ago, I can't count the number of times I turned a game off by the sixth inning because we're down by 6 or more runs and there's just no faith that the team is going to get anywhere near pulling back together to get the runs.
Yeah. Or we're down by 3 runs. And it's like I don't even have faith in their offense to like do anything.
That's a better point. Is you're not even down by 6 runs, you're down by 3 runs, and it feels like the game is a mile away.
Yeah, but not with this team, and that's why I say, like, I give as much credit to their offense as I do their starting pitching, because they work in tandem. And let's just talk about the future here in the last like 15 minutes. But man, we have got a stretch run in us. I think I'm setting all this up because we've been watching a lot of baseball in our lives, Brown Bear, but I'm going to sit here and tell you right now, the next 3 weeks is going to be some shit. And like I say, I'm not going to attach my emotions, but the last week of the season, if we're a half game, I don't know. I'm going to focus on work and life, man. Yeah, it just is what it is. But I'm not going to just be in full agony if something wrong happens. But again, I got a lot of belief in these motherfuckers. But I guess what I'm saying is the last 2 weeks especially, Houston is just flat out, I got to say it, they're definitely getting hot right now at an interesting time. We had a tough road trip, but we still I feel the wave. JP leads the team. Dumper, like today's game, perfect example. They needed that win. They fucking got it any means necessary. Prettiness doesn't matter in the score column. Straight W, and like our close game ratio must be one of the highest in the league, to your point earlier about losing close games. But man, we win a close game, 1-0 against the Rays. How do you see this playing out? Rangers are on a complete downfall. I want to know your opinion on what are our chances to win the pennant still? What are the chances that the Rangers get kicked out of the playoffs? Those are my 2 questions for you.
Okay. I think in terms of the pennant, it's going to be difficult, but the things I like towards that goal are I would rather us struggle now. Like, I would like to have seen us win the series against the Mets and against the Reds, although I think the Mets are better than they are on paper, and I think the Reds are a sneaky good team.
Yeah.
And so I'm honestly I'm okay with getting swept would have been pretty devastating. I'm okay with losing those series. I would rather lose series now, stumble, figure out some holes in our game, have something for the guys to galvanize around, and get back on track for the next couple weeks going into the end of the season than for us to stumble and start having those issues the last week of the season going into the potential playoffs if we make it. I think we have a realistic shot at the division. We play the Astros 3 more times. We have fortunately handled them pretty well this year. I think they're getting healthier and their offense is clicking. When everyone on their offense is clicking and healthy, they're scary. They are scary.
Yeah.
They have good pitching as well. They have Verlander now, who we haven't had to face. I don't think we haven't faced him at all this year because by the time they got him, we've only played that one series against him.
The last time we faced Verlander, we fucking shelled him in the playoffs.
We did, and historically, I think we've done okay. Like in recent history, last year, I think we had a really good record. I think we played Verlander probably 4 or 5 times, and we had a decent record overall against him. Anyway, my point is, great offense, decent pitching, and it's going to be key what we do in those last 3 games against them for sure. But also that's a little bit because we only have 3 games left against them and we have 7 games left against the Rangers. Our fate is a little more out of our hands when it comes to the Astros than with the Rangers. Now, that being said, I think what we need to do is just focus, and there's certain series that we need to not fuck around with. Like, we got the Angels coming up at home. We got to not fuck around. We should probably be sweeping that series. We definitely should be winning that series.
Yeah.
Then we have we have the A's. We should be winning for sure. Probably sweeping that series. We have a tough series left against not only the Astros and the Rangers, but we play the Dodgers, and then I think we play. I don't have the schedule up now, but I think there's one other series that's potentially tough, other than the Dodgers, that's not within our division, and then we come into this final stretch where over the last week and a half, we have 7 games against the Rangers. So if the Rangers start to come back a little bit, that is going to be a problem for us. That being said, we have a good chance to kind of turn the tide against the Rangers. I think we're 4-1 against them, or maybe 5-1, or 1-5 against them this year. They handled us in the early part of the season. We have enough games to come back and win the tiebreaker against them on that, and in the event that we end up tied with them somehow. So I think overall, as far as your first question goes about us in the division, I think our fate is mostly in our hands there. We are counting on the Astros a little bit, not to just coast and win every single game for the rest of the season, which kind of seems like they're on the path to do with their last week and a half of play. But in terms of the Rangers falling out of contention, I think as of right now, I don't think they hold a postseason spot anymore. The Blue Jays jumped them. So they are not even holding a wild card spot currently. So they've really got to.
By Houston.
They got swept by Houston. But
what's their chances?
The Rangers' chances of coming back into it?
Well, it's here's why I ask, I think, is because that's last 7 games, it does feel suspiciously like their fate and our fate are tangled up. And I have a feeling that the Josh Jung injury and this Garcia injury is bigger than they want to admit. Their offense takes huge holes if that, especially the Garcia becomes real. And Evaldi's now back, so they get a little bit of that, and they definitely got Schurz. But it's just so interesting because they have been on a straight nosedive. I just saw a stat. They have the worst record, tied with the Rockies. Since the All-Star break, we've had nearly the best minus the Atlanta. But it's crazy because you couldn't have written it any different, man. This is it. We're going to have to walk through hell with gasoline boots on, man. And if you've been enjoying these games, man, like it's gonna be fun times in Mariners
That's
Land.
one thing for sure, is it's going to be exciting. It's not going to be boring. And I guess that's my to finalize my answer on that. It's hard to say. It's going to be up in the air. It's going to be really come down to who plays better baseball, because when you're talking about if it's between us and the Rangers, even if not for the division but for a wild card spot, 7 games against each other, you can change a lot in the standings with 7 games head to head. So we got to go in and take it serious and really play our asses off against that team to make sure that we're the ones making the difference in the standings and it's not them. So,
well, my guess is that they're lining it up so that we don't start with like Miller and Wu, because we got shell shocked last time. We got straight worst series.
Yeah, but also that was Wu's first. That was his MLB debut, and that was when they were literally for like 2 or 3 months straight. They were the best offense in baseball.
I know.
And to put up a rookie pitcher who Wu is an incredible.
Remember, they got beat all 3 of those games bad.
They did.
I'm just saying, it will be fun to watch these guys get redemption. But my guess is they're gonna start Castillo, Gilbert, Kirby. This is the end of the chess battle, man. This is where the big guns, where the queen gets drawn.
Yeah. Wu is just an incredible story on his own. The fact he's barely pitched in professional ball before getting to the majors. Like, he made a pretty quick path to the majors.
Yeah.
And the fact that the first team he faced was the hot ass fucking Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
I have a little bit more faith that he could do better a second time. But yeah, obviously, hopefully they're lining it up. But that's going to be, to go back to your first question about our chances of the division, that is going to be what it comes down to. Our offense has been super hot, but our strength is clearly our starting pitching. So it's going to be our ability to strategize with our starting pitching, to be able to get the most out of dudes like Miller and Wu, who would probably in a normal season, if we were either way ahead in the standings or way behind in the standings, they would probably be shut down by now because they'd be on innings limits. So those 2 dudes probably are reaching their maximum limit of innings, but we need them to be the dudes they've been to get us to the playoffs. And then you tie into that Kirby probably going to pitch more innings than he's ever pitched. Logan is pretty established now at pitching that amount of innings, and Castillo. So I have a faith in Castillo, Gilbert, and Kirby to be able to have the stamina to get there. But we are going to have to be strategic with how we use Miller and Wu, and then the bullpen's going to come into play. We're going to need the bullpen to be.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm talking huge games. We're going to have some mystery starters. We're going to have starters that really just haven't contributed at all. Was it Tommy Malone got signed?
Yeah, I think we re-signed. I think we DFA'd him and then we re-signed him to a minor league contract.
If Wu or Miller get put on inning restriction at any point, we don't have reserves like that. Like, I can't think of a starter who could come out. Flexen got DFA'd. Flexen would have been that dude. Flexen is long gone. So it's like you will be seeing some type of Tommy Malone situation in like a fucking crucial last week of the season pennants. But deep down, man, steel sharpens steel. I just see us all like a gradual. We're going to get into the playoffs. I want it. I see it. We have a path forward, and we'll probably just talk Mariners for the next couple of podcasts because this shit is exciting. I cannot wait for the Rangers in Houston. Bring it, man. This team's fun to watch. I don't give a fuck. I just know we're just not the type to get blown out like we did against the Rangers at that time of the season, where it's a completely different team. And I don't think they're going to be ready for that. I think our vibe is like going to be so different. It's going to be shocking to them.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have a tough series against Oakland and a tough series against whoever because –
the Angels are going to come into our house trying to fuck our season up because we did that to them.
They got blood. They're out for blood. But
I don't blame them. I would be doing the same fucking thing.
yeah.
We embarrassed them. We
Yes.
straight up embarrassed them, so they're going to be trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be out for blood, and they're going to want to. I mean, if we got swept by the Angels, say, that'd be a showstopper. That'd be tough. But again, it's less about other things, haters, naysayers, other actors in this. It's like it comes back to these are the wonder years. Again, I'll just go on my short list real quick. Julio, Kirby, Gilbert, Big Dumper, France, guys that will have not reached their ceiling yet and are still pretty fucking good, So it's like it's just a fun time. Also, man, I'm gonna come out and say it. Canzone has a huge ceiling. This guy is kind of like he could be a diamond in the rough from that Seawall trade. We're talking about the Seawall trade. Da, da, da. If that dude is like a 270 hitter, we're all gonna be like, damn, that was a major win. That's like a ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
A ready outfielder.
I think he's got that potential for sure.
But man, gotta win them one at a time. And one more shout out. I know we did it last week.
One more thing I forgot to add that's going to be the key. Major keys.
Again, if anybody's getting MVP this year on the Mariners, like JP needs his due every episode.
Yes, love JP. JP's major underrated, but the major key to the rest of the Mariners season is a young man who's heating up in Tacoma right now.
Oh man, we didn't even. My brothers want to get into this so bad. This is all Tobes and Josh want to talk about, man.
September Kelenic. We can talk a little bit about September Kelenic next week, maybe, because he's supposed to come back either this weekend series in Tampa or the next week's series at home, the homestand, which I think starts with the Angels on Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
We got to get that record.
Bro's like 9 for 20 or 9 for 21, hitting in the 400s.
I told you can't keep him out of AAA. It's just that's his thing. That is his major thing. And man, you don't even want to get me started on Kelenic again. All I have is positivity. I'm a hippie to the core, man. All I got is peace, love. I mean, if you've been really watching this team, how can you be hurt or hateful? We're in like we just got into like the craziest playoff series last year. Like probably the best thing minus the, even the Tommy Ray thing made me laugh. Like it hurt, but it's like Robbie Ray, sorry. But like, it's just all, this year I'm telling you, that's going to put that year. It's like they got a Hollywood thing going, man. I'm into it. I'm watching these games religiously. I'm taking off work if I have to. I'm like, I'm about it. Like, this is pennant chase. This is my team. My people at my work already know I'm about that life. And like, if there's a pennant chase that week, I'm on pennant watch, dude. I'm already score watching every day.
Yeah.
And we just got a half a game. Just keep winning, Mariners. Will we keep rooting for you? And man, the return of Kelenic next episode. I always like when we leave. We either leave some facts, some old tidbits, or we hit you with a preamp to next show. Brown Bear, the rise of the Kelenic.
The rise of the Kelenic.
Star Wars, Mariners Wars, rise of the Kelenic army. I mean, he does always come out a little hot, and he's gonna. His edge.
Even in the years he sucked. Even in the years he sucked, he was good in September. September Kelenic's like a real thing. He had some good Septembers before he got good. Now he's like, he was cooling off before he got hurt, but he has the potential to come in and change the look of the team for sure.
Plus, he's not taking Teo or Julio at bats. He's just Canzone's already getting platoon with more, so he just gets added to a platoon list. So it's not like the Mariners of old where it's like we need Kelenic to be good. He'll be put in at the bottom of the order, but if he does do good, and we're
That's
down
where he
the
thrived,
stretch.
man. That's where he thrived. Honestly, he was hitting 6th or 7th, and that's when he was hitting like 290. So I think they need to just rock with that. And they do this thing where some dude will have like back-to-back games with home runs, and they did it with Canzone last week, and then they like put him in the cleanup spot, and it fucks up the whole vibe.
Yeah.
And not that, I mean, Canzone's still been playing good, but he definitely didn't hit a home run that day that they put him in the cleanup spot. So I don't. It's so funny sometimes how they're refused to like fuck with the chemistry and to change a person's role on the team. But I do notice they will do it with the batting order. They fuck the batting order up sometimes just to try and like get something going.
Well, I think that's part of the I've noticed too is like they're never allowed to have the same batting order twice. Like that's just the never. Even if it's the same arm pitcher, there's just some. It's like Scott. I think he want him and maybe Dipoto, but it seems more like a Scott thing. Like they just want to put their it's the tandem. They want to put their signature on each game.
Not
Like
much. So my understanding is they have like every morning they have like a conference about with like him, Scott, and Hollander, Jerry Scott and Justin Hollander all sit down and have a meeting where they plan out the game down to like when that Robbie Ray shit happened last year. Their excuse or their post game was like that decision was made 12 hours ago. Like we all sat down and said, what happens if we come up in the 9th and they have run and they got runners on and Jordan's at the plate, who do we put in? And the decision was made at that point that Robbie Ray is the guy to go to in that position, which love it or hate it, they have a fucking plan and they stick with the plan.
I love it. And
I don't love the Robbie Ray move, but I love the strategy of like knowing in each situation what's going to happen so that they're prepared.
Life, man. They're going to make fun of you when you fail, but if you don't have a plan, 90% you might never succeed. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So with that, I remember Dipoto saying today, I heard Kellenick is raking in minor league. The chat board was saying that was a little casual for the Madden baseball operations to just give such a just like opinionated like comment. He like Jerry is a fucking funny dude, man. Go Mariners. Oh, return to Kellenick next episode. Thanks for listening, everybody. Brownbear, you got the last word, man.
Hey, go Mariners. Keep the faith. Don't get too stressed out. Good vibes only. Peace, love, and denuclearization. Go Mariners.
Return to Kellenick. I'm getting that's Star Trek. So.